There are two other things that we have incorporated into the templates and the prompts that we're sharing. The first is that there is at the bottom of the alert box now a link to your community health pathways. So if you're not sure of how to access, now for most of us there is a button on your desktop that's been put there by DHCW. That's coming to the Betsy soon, and I'm not sure what the situation is in POIS, but regardless, if you double click on here, it will take you to the links to your individual health board pathway sites. We're hoping that the way that we can access these will slightly improve, and that it'll happen in the background as you log in with your NADEX. And I know that in some places the passwords are slightly different, so how well there's a variety of different passwords, but I think most people down there are already quite familiar with how to access and how to get hold of their own passwords here. What's important to note, and particularly for the CKD QI, is that even if you haven't had that pathway localized to your area, if you do choose to open this and go to that link and type in the password and the username and password in that page and sign in, you will get to your home page, and if we type in CKD, it'll say that that page hasn't been localized to your site. It'll tell you when you're on that site that you are looking at a site that was originally made by another part in Wales. This was Cardiff and Rail originally for this one, but it's been adapted as a national pathway, so you know you can at least go in and see the CHP work. I'm a fan, and I think, we've had 1 million views now in Wales. This is a very robust, very good system. We're hoping to keep this going and need support from GPs everywhere to say if they find it useful or not. The other adaptation I should point out, or the other thing we've added into the templates and prompts, is a link into Frailty. So if you've got EMIS and you've got a patient that comes in and their score is greater than 0.24, you will see this little box here. And the idea is that these are the patients we should be considering coding frailty in them. Now, if you double click on that, you'll see, let me go to this page here. There is a box now in the template that suggests EFI score, suggests at least mild frailty. When you open that up, you can use the EFI calculator that's inbuilt in EMIS. Please remember that's always at the clinician's discretion. What the contract asks us to do then is to review their Rockwood clinical frailty score, and we're particularly interested or particularly keen to make sure that anyone that's moderately frail, so people who need help with all outside activities or need a bit of help with work inside and dressing and bathing, we want to make sure that their code is moderately frail or severely frail. I think it's useful to consider coding the mildly frail, those people who are sort of slowed up or needing a bit of help or well, according to the frailty score here, where we think that's appropriate. Particularly, I think, if we are aware that that patient is likely to be seeing other services. So if you're using EMIS Community, for example, or you're referring somebody on to secondary care for an issue, or you want people in the out of hours to be able to see that we consider these people to be frail, if you do code that frailty, it will show then in their records to other users. And again, I mean, from our planned care point of view, we think it's very useful to know when we have frail patients referred, because we might well want to try and target those patients for earlier support and intervention. The template I'm showing here is a slightly different one to the one that we're sharing. This needs a little bit more setting up by us. So it pulls in all the chronic disease and all the old QI work, so some of the work around medication safety, so you can see estrogen only, HRT, making sure that we're prompting for vaccines. It's pulling in all the work on the respiratory side, and it's pulling in a few other areas and issues that we might not be covering with the templates that we're giving, partly because it can feel a bit overwhelming. But if people are interested in expanding on this type of approach, please contact us. Again, it's the same sort of approach as we're using for CKD, but for everything, so that we're capturing everything in one place. The other slight difference with this sort of template is the process capture covers a slightly wider group of issues. So it's not focused simply on diabetes, CKD, hypertension, cardiovascular disease. If there are other processes needed for the various medications, so say for example if there was shared care or near patient testing or DOAC reviews needed or tests because of other medications needed, it would pull it all into the same place. Again, that's a slightly wider, bigger bit of work, but if anyone has liked the approach for this type of work, so if you've liked the smaller template for CKD, cardiovascular diabetes, but would like to look at importing templates that pull in all processes for that patient, so you're only seeing them once a year and trying to capture everything at once, then please do contact us, because that does need us to set it up, and yes, there is a fee for that.